Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome ConnectWise CEO, Arnie Bellini.
Good morning and welcome to IT Nation 2017, the very first one that we're having here in Europe, and we're so excited to be here with you. We've been on a long journey together, and we have had amazing commitment here to Europe, and specifically here in London. We've opened our offices here, and you know what? We love it here, and we're growing very fast here, and we are really committed to you, our partners here, not only in the UK and Europe, but we actually have some folks here from Australia as well, don't we? How many folks are here from Australia? You! One. There's two of us, okay. All right. So I know we have people from all over Europe. Really want to thank you guys for coming today, guys and girls for coming today. You know, it's going to be a great event. We've got over 350 of you joining us today. And we're really excited because we've got 45 amazing breakout sessions for you to really learn a lot about your IT business and where things are going to be going into the future. It would not be correct if we didn't have some amazing vendors here as well. They're over in the Cromwell Suite, the Solution Pavilion. We have 16 amazing integration vendors that are part of the ConnectWise ecosystem. So please go join them and learn about the solutions that they have that integrate to the ConnectWise platform. And tomorrow we're going to have Gary Pica. And Gary Pica, we handpicked Gary because Gary is kind of the guru of managed services. And we know that managed services is really hot and taking off over here and has been for a couple years over here in Europe. So he is kind of the mastermind of success for managed services over in the United States. We wanted to bring him over here and have him share his best practices with you. So tomorrow we're going to be doing that. Today I'm actually going to be taking you on a journey beyond managed services and trying to make you think a little bit about the future and where things are going with this industry so that you can kind of get a jump on where you want to take your business into the future. And then, of course, it wouldn't be a ConnectWise event unless we had an amazing party. And so tonight we have the amazing Sir Richard Branson's rooftop garden completely reserved for all of you. So we'll be joining you at an amazing party over there. And with any luck, Mr. Branson will show up. We'll see. So what is IT Nation? IT Nation is about collaboration and sharing. It's about sharing your best practices. And if we all work together, we can create a much better world, and we can help each other in our businesses quite a bit. So I don't want you to be afraid of sharing your best practices or your secret sauce with the person to your left or the person to your right, because it's about all boats rise in the tide, right? If we share and if we collaborate, we will do better together. So it's kind of a different way of thinking. It's something that we've really been pushing for, the whole time that we've been in business to create an amazing community of you, and that's really what it's about. We've done a really good job of that with our user group here, the 5 Hour Ahead user group, and so we want to see that continue with IT Nation here. So I want you to share your SMAC recipe. And what is a SMAC recipe? SMAC recipe is something that is specific, methodical, and consistently delivered. It was a concept brought forward by Jim Collins, the great business author of Good to Great and Great by Choice. And he has some amazing ideas. If you think about it, it's like what a SMAC recipe is something that it's specific operating practices you methodically and consistently repeat to create success in your business. So please share your SMAC recipe freely. And I'm going to share some partners' SMAC recipes here with you, but I'm going to start with us. ConnectWise IT. As you know, we are you. In Tampa, Florida, United States, we have a small managed service practice. It does consulting, managed services, web development. We have multiple practice areas inside that company. It brings about 3.5 million pounds to the top line every year, and we bring about 30% to the bottom line. This is what actually started the business. So we are you. We started the software because we had that business, and we were having such a hard time running that business. But I'm going to share with you, so I'm going to start off. I asked you to share your SMAC recipe, so I'm going to start off. This is our SMAC recipe. It really hasn't changed in the 35 years that we've been in business. We service clients with a 50-mile radius of our office. System engineers must be 80% billable. Hire only fast, smart people, and they've got to pass our test, so we have a test that we give them. We make colleagues happy to achieve super low turnover. We create accountability for clients, establishing an owner of an issue. We try not to hand off too much because we find that things get fumbled when we do that. We sell hardware, but we'll only sell it if we seek to make about a 20% margin on it, so we don't want to try to compete with the lowest cost solution out there. And we build reoccurring revenue. Our whole mission is to build reoccurring revenue. So should we get reoccurring revenue with everything that we do? We try to make that happen. And then the client's got to give us more than one of our offerings. We offer service, hardware, agreements, software development, and so we want to see them use multiple of our services. And then last, we won't take on solicitors or doctors. Now that doesn't mean because there's anything wrong with solicitors or doctors. It just means that it's a specialty and that you really have to focus on that if you want to do good at that. And then we're always looking for technological breakthroughs to open up new practice areas, new offerings that we can have. So that's our SMAC recipe, okay, right there. So I've shared mine. Now I really hope that you will share yours. And speaking of a SMAC recipe, you know, the ConnectWise IT, the company that we have, has built all of these SMAC recipes on top of the ConnectWise platform. And I wanted to also introduce to you the new names. Now, some of you are used to it, some of you aren't. But we've made a little bit of a confusion here for you, I suppose, because we've changed our names and we've master branded, because we've had so many solutions that we decided, look, we're making it confusing. Let's see if we can actually make it simpler. So what we did is we changed the names. We want it to be an action, a verb, the thing that you do. So ConnectWise Sell is formerly Quozal. ConnectWise Manage was what we used to call ConnectWise. ConnectWise Automate used to be LabTech. And then ConnectWise Control, formerly Screen Connect. So that's your SMAC recipe: sell, manage, automate, and control. So, you know, one suite of products to help you manage your business, sell more effectively, automate delivery, and control technology. So that's our new sort of formula for you. Okay, and then one other sort of real success story that we feel we've had here is the IT Europa Awards. So that's the European IT and Software Excellence Awards. ConnectWise was awarded 2017 SaaS Solution of the Year. So again, just more evidence that we're really committed to this space. All right, so I'm going to take you on a little bit of a journey, and you're going to go, why is he talking about all this stuff? I'm talking about these things that we're going to talk about, these technological breakthroughs, to kind of make you think out into the future a little bit. Then we're going to bring it back. We're going to talk about the products. We're going to talk about more practical things. But I want you to understand the research that we've done and the things that we've seen to sort of give you an idea of where the world's going. So we're kind of entering a new era in history right now, where technology will revolution and transform every business, industry, economy, and culture. So not only will the world look different, but every company and every industry must evolve to survive. This will all happen in your lifetime. It'll be a wave of creative disruption fueled by technological breakthroughs. And for the rest of your life, as you know it, you will witness breakthroughs happening at a pace and scale beyond comprehension. But the thing that's important about that is that it just means there's amazing opportunities for those of us that are in the technology space if we're thinking forward and if we're not locked into the business model that we have today. So you want to be thinking about things that you can do. So let me just show you some industries that are going to be disrupted amazingly. But first, let's talk about why that's happening. So we call these the breakthrough accelerators. So these are three simple but powerful factors that are ushering in this new age of breakthroughs. First, we have processing power. And as you know, it's doubling every 2 years. In fact, in just a couple months, there's a chip coming out that's going to be 20 nanometers in 2 months. All right, that's the size of 20 atoms, okay? So we've really gotten miniaturized, and as we were able to shrink these processors down, we're able to increase more power. One simple fact that's been the case for a long time. When you combine these three, that's what becomes so powerful. Bandwidth is the next thing. So the second breakthrough accelerator is bandwidth. 5G bandwidth is coming very soon. And 5G bandwidth will be 100 times faster than the mobile phone experience that you have today. But what's so cool about 5G is wireless is going to revolutionize manufacturing. Machines will be able to talk to other machines with a 1 millisecond latency time. And so that's really virtually real time. This one fact will change just about everything in the technology industry. And these kinds of speeds will usher in things like virtual reality and augmented reality. So the last breakthrough accelerator is storage capacity. So it's doubling every 12 months. And you know, if you think about storage capacity, it's kind of unlimited, and it's basically virtually free now. You know, think about how much you pay for a Google 10 gigs on Google. It's almost nothing. You get a terabyte for almost nothing. So these three put together are the breakthrough accelerators that are catalyzing this new economic possibilities that we're going to be talking about in just a second. They're going to be able to answer a lot of the problems that the world has today. And during your lifetime, you're going to see massive innovation happening and a lot of industries being disrupted as a result of it. The beautiful thing is we're all in on the ground seat of that. We're in the ground floor of that, and we're actually in the catbird seat on that. So we're pretty excited about the possibilities. So just some of how these breakthrough accelerators are changing industries real quick. Let's just talk real quick about the future of transportation. Motorways without drivers. This is going to happen sooner than you think. In fact, a lot of people are predicting this will happen by 2030, that we'll actually have motorways with no drivers. So cars will be able to drive themselves through traffic lights, intersections, and even roundabouts. Now, I can't even make it around a roundabout. I tend not to rent a car here because I can't quite figure it out, right? So think about a computer, think about a car. It's going to be able to do all of those things. It'll have full connectivity with other cars, and it'll have full connectivity with the motorway, with the infrastructure that people are now putting into the motorways. And the modifications to the motorways are very slight to be able to help computers guide cars through this world that we live in today. You know, a great example of that is Tesla. So Elon Musk is kind of, and his company Tesla, they've kind of reinvented cars, all right? They've actually reimagined what a car should be. So what they did is they started with a computer, okay? That's what's so different. Everybody now is starting with the technology in a computer. So they started with a computer, and they hooked absolutely everything to it. So that means steering, accelerator, brakes, navigation, cameras, sensors, radar, GPS, radio, and every one of these has Bluetooth and 4G connectivity to the Tesla cloud 24/7. And what's so cool about it is that car becomes smarter with every on-air download that it gets. So it has an upgrade, just like a Windows machine gets an automatic upgrade. It says, do you want to install it? Same thing. It becomes smarter. It's watching what the drivers are doing. It's figuring out and using machine learning to become better at driving. So I think that's a pretty cool thing. You know, what's really cool about it is it's really more like a robot than it is a car. And it's designed to take over all driving responsibilities. It can drive better than most of us. It definitely can change lanes better than I know I can. It stays awake for long trips. It never goes to sleep. Think about that. And it changes lanes very safely, and it obeys the speed limit. So all of these things are big advantageous. I mean, when this happens, when this technology is fully implemented, right, companies like Tesla will follow suit. We have Mercedes-Benz following suit. BMW is following suit. They're all following suit at this point in time. When this happens, driving will become much safer because computers will be able to negotiate it much better. There'll be fewer accidents. The world will be a better place. But the best part of it is you and I will be able to just sit in our car and work, maybe watch TV, do just about anything that we want to do on our commute to work, right? So that'll be pretty good. How many folks work in central London and have over an hour commute? No one. All right, 2 people. Okay. All right. Well, I think you definitely have mass transit down pat here in the UK, no doubt. Let's look at the power industry, okay? It's going to change the power industry as well. What is the future of power? Well, this is what it looks like today. Plumes of smoke, pollution everywhere, coal-burning plants. You know, this is 200-year-old technology that is ripe for disruption. In fact, by 2025, it's predicted that coal companies will be out of business and that oil companies will be scrambling for relevancy. There's only 42 years of oil left. People don't know that. The oil reserves, the known oil reserves that are out there, only 42 years left. So we've got to find an alternative. Technology, as always, is coming to the rescue. So one of the things that I think is really cool is that there's now solar panels that you can put on your roof that are actually in the form of shingles. And so it won't look any different. The rooftop will look exactly the same, but every house can be its own power plant. And I think that's a pretty amazing thing. So that's all technological breakthroughs that are happening right now, right here, right in front of us. In fact, here's kind of a fun fact. If we were to use solar power, how much of the world would we have to cover in solar panels to unplug every other form of power? Oil, coal, you name it. The answer is about 440,000 square miles, about the size of Colombia. Okay? That's it. If we were to have that many solar panels out there in the world, we could actually shut off everything else in the world. So all of this is based on technology. Now, I know none of you are going to play in this technology. I understand that, okay? But the fact that every traditional industry that we know of is being disrupted, that's the thing that I think is really amazing about this. Let's talk about artificial intelligence, because that's where it starts to hit home with all of us, isn't it? Artificial intelligence is going to change everything. In fact, computers will reach human intelligence. Now, I'm going out a little bit on a limb here, okay? But computers, based on what we see, are going to be able to achieve human intelligence within your lifetime. Not mine. You're pretty young, within your lifetime, okay? But not mine. So the real key on that is quantum computing. So quantum computing is finally becoming a reality. So what is a quantum computer? It's very different than a classical computer. A classical computer uses a 0 and a 1 to do its computation. Quantum computers, a bit can be 0, 1, or 0 and 1 at the same time. And that one simple fact allows it to do massive programming and massive calculations at a parallel processing at a bit level. So what that means is that a computation that would take 2 years on a traditional classical computer that we're all used to takes about 1 minute on a quantum computer. So why is that important? Well, that's important because if you want to solve the world's biggest problems, you're going to need a lot of compute power. And so quantum computers hold the promise for solving all kinds of problems that we have today. If you think about it, we've created a very complex world. The internet itself is very complex, right? The solar system is complex. Climate is complex. We talk about climate change. No one really knows. You know why they don't know? Because we've not been able to run the proper simulations. Because it would take years and years and years to do that. So we're really kind of guessing. But with quantum computers, we can start figuring those things out once these things become mainstream and harnessed and available for all of us, okay? So some really cool opportunities there. And if you think about it, there's no more complex system than the human brain. And that is where things are going to be going. It's going to be able to try and use artificial intelligence and really think, go through logic. You see computers trying to think now, but it's very, very basic. Quantum computers will give them the capability of doing massive processing to actually start simulating human thought. And it's a little scary, but at the same time, it's the way things are going. So I'm just sort of pointing out, it's like there's no stopping these things. It's where the world's going to be going. We talk about the future of everything. So I like to talk about the future of everything. And what I mean by that is things on the internet. There will be 100 billion devices connected to the internet by 2030. And you're like, big deal. It's like, it is a big deal. You know why it's a big deal? Because it's going to be a completely connected world, right? Everything is going to be connected. And that means, computers and cell phones, yeah, we know that, right? But automobiles, jet engines, railroads, coffee makers, washing machines, lamps, dog collars, even barbecue grills, okay? So anything with an on and off switch is going to be connected to the internet. And you're seeing that today. How many folks have an Alexa or an Echo Dot from Amazon? A few of you? Yeah? Okay. Connected device. How many of you have an Apple Watch? Connected device. How many of you have a Fitbit? Connected device. Okay. How many of you have a Nest system at your home? Connected device. How many of you have video systems that you can access from your mobile phone, connected device. And so what you're seeing is everybody is putting connectivity into everything that has an on and off switch. I mean, there's even a toothbrush out there that's connected, right? That can report whether you're brushing your teeth right to your dentist, okay? I've got mine shut off. I don't want my dentist knowing exactly how I brush my teeth. So what's cool about that, if you sort of think about it, if we look at the world's population, the world's population grows in a pretty linear curve. It's sort of about 80 million a year, okay? We got about 80 million people that we're adding a year to the Earth's population. But let's take a look at connected devices. Connected devices are growing exponentially right now. In fact, by 2030, like we said, there's going to be about 100 billion devices. And as I did this research, I kind of fudged a little bit on the high side, and now I've re-looked at the research, and everybody's going way above where I was talking about this happening, okay? What's interesting about this is 100 billion devices. So to put it in more relative terms, what does that mean? It means that there's going to be 12 connected devices for every person on Earth. What does that mean? That means there's massive opportunity for all of us. That's going to be a real amazing opportunity for every one of us. And you think about it, these devices are going to be guided by quantum computers in the future, so they're going to get smarter and smarter and smarter and smarter, okay? So you can say, well, it's going to be dangerous. It's like, might be, but it's going to happen. I kind of think it's going to be more like the world of George Jetson. So I kind of take that optimistic view of the George Jetson world, right? I think that's what we're going to see. Okay, so we talked about some really big ideas. I want to kind of bring it back down to earth here a little bit. And so I want to talk about what we call the breakthrough finder. And what is a breakthrough finder? Breakthrough finder is kind of like a fish finder. How many folks like fishing out there? All right. So you know what a fish finder is. It helps you see where the fish are, but it doesn't actually catch the fish for you, right? So what we're going to try and do right now is bring this back down to earth a little bit and talk about a breakthrough finder, some practical things that you can take advantage of that we hope you will kind of catch on to these concepts and maybe do something with this in your business. So let's talk about that. All right, the first one I want to talk about is cloud. By the way, I'm getting practical again here now. So cloud. Cloud is probably the #1 breakthrough that's available for all of us today, all right? Great partner of ours up in Edinburgh, Scotland is Duncan Reid, and he has gotten this figured out. So Duncan's the co-founder of Icelandic, and he consistently brings about 30% to the bottom line. So very profitable company. He uses the entire ConnectWise suite to run his business, manage, automate, sell, and control. And Duncan's breakthrough is cloud service, his new cloud service practice area that he started. So one of the things I think that Duncan knows, and we've done the research, is, this graph right here. We're talking about, close to $3.5 trillion global IT spend. And these are the predictions for the global IT spend for traditional IT. And what do I mean by that? It's the stuff that we've always worked with. It's the stuff under the roof. So what is it? It's buying servers and workstations and PCs and putting them under the roof, and applications and putting them under the roof. It's the thing that we've all made our businesses on, right? We've all made our business around that kind of a world. Well, what's interesting is that's really sort of flattening off. And so as you look into the future, the good news is it's not going down, because a lot of people say, oh, the cloud's going to take over. No, it's going to be a world of cloud plus the traditional IT that we all know. So it's going to level off, but where the real growth is going to happen is in the clouds. And so even though the traditional IT spend is leveling off, what you're really seeing is growth happening in the cloud. So what does that mean? It means if you want your business to grow, you're going to have to embrace the cloud. So 78% of small businesses expect to have 100% of their computing workload in the cloud by 2020. And if you think about it, that's who we serve, for the most part, is small to mid-sized businesses. So this is a trend that's pretty important. Duncan's figured this out. So, Duncan has a traditional managed service practice where he works with his customers, and he takes care of and stays focused on all of the IT infrastructure that they have under the roof. And these are the common things. These are what we all pretty much service and support that's under the roof today. Email, office tools, Microsoft Office, sales tools, customer care. So these are the kind of the suite of products that we all sort of take care of that's under the roof today. But what research is showing is that a high percentage of small to mid-sized businesses are talking about moving pieces of this out into the cloud, right? So you got 63% of small to mid-sized businesses are saying they're moving their email out to Office 365 sometime in the next 5 years. So we want to be ahead of that, and Duncan actually is. And so what Duncan's done is he's focused on the cloud, and he's created an entire practice area on helping his clients move there, but then managing and monitoring and taking care of the cloud infrastructure for them as well. That doesn't mean he's abandoned his traditional view of the world, where he takes care of, with managed services, all of the infrastructure that's under the roof of that client as well. So he's actually doing both. And this is kind of his breakthrough. And he has created a very beautiful business. And what's beautiful about this is he has increased his monthly reoccurring revenue simply by having the proper focus on both of these. All right? So that's Duncan. I think Duncan's got some things figured out. Let's talk about another partner who's actually focused on security. So, we think this is the second big opportunity. So security is sort of at the center stage of everything these days, right? I mean, the more we move applications to the cloud, the more the security becomes an issue, right? So Carl Bickmore, he's CEO of Snaptech IT in Arizona. He's actually had tremendous growth. He's grown from 1 employee to 65 in 7 years' time. He brings 20% to the bottom line, and he attributes a lot of his success to the ideas that he gets here at IT Nation, at ConnectWise user groups, and from sharing secret sauce and smack recipes with others. So he has the entire ConnectWise business suite. He has manage, sell, automate, and control to run his business. And what's cool about it is he actually sells managed services like many of you, but he will not sell his managed service offering unless people also purchase his managed security offering. So here's the next new thing, managed security, right? So let's talk about that. In fact, what's really cool about this is he sells this, and he's basically, it's an upcharge to his managed service contracts. He's selling a lot of these contracts for about £2,000 a month, his managed security offering, £2,000 a month, all right? And it starts with a 150-hour upfront engagement. And so he's actually making really good money with it. So let me ask you this. How many folks are getting that call when there's a security problem with your client? Who gets that call saying, help, help, I got a security problem? Come on, it's a lot more than that. You know it, all right? I didn't say you charge for it. I just said you get the call. Now how many people are doing it? Right, a whole bunch of you, right? So here's my point. You're actually being held responsible for this, whether you're charging for it or not. And this is what Carl figured out. He said, I'm getting the call anyway. I'm taking the heat anyway. Why shouldn't I create a managed security practice and start making money from this? And so that's what he's started to do. So he's proactively managing and maintaining the security. And if you think about it, you're doing a lot of the same things that he's doing. He's providing virus protection. He's providing malware protection. All of you are doing the same thing. He does firewall intrusion detection. This is where he starts to diverge. This is what makes up his managed security practice. So he actually does, you put the firewall in, but what he does is he puts the firewall in and he does firewall intrusion detection, right? He also adds disk encryption. If you really want to have a good security practice, you've got to encrypt every disk under that rooftop as well. So all the hard drives, all the notebooks, that has to be encrypted. It's a very simple tool that you can buy to do that, right? The network has to be encrypted. None of us would think about going outside of our network without encryption, but so many of us don't have any encryption inside the network. It's as simple as putting SSL in place inside the network and having encryption inside the network, okay? He also does penetration testing. So now he's got a routine where he actually goes in and does penetration testing. And here's one of the big things, and this is why he has a 150-hour upfront engagement. He has an IT manual, and so this is an important part of the security practice. You've got to have a manual that says, here's how we do IT inside of our company. He's also got a security manual. Here are the policies and procedures that we will adhere to for security, okay? And then he does compliance testing. So it's those combination of things that he does, And again, remember, 150-hour upfront project, and he's, on average, he's doing, on average, he told me he's doing about 1,000 pounds a month for this, charging for this. So it's a new great frontier. It's something that's going to happen in our space. Because of everything else that's going on, that's going to happen. Let's talk about co-managed IT, because that's another new area that's going to happen. Most of us sort of shy away from clients that have IT departments because we know that they don't like us. We know that they consider us a threat, okay? But not Kelly. Kelly Siegel, who's the CEO of National Technology Management, he embraces small IT departments. In fact, what he's done is he's used the entire ConnectWise suite, and he puts that platform out there for small to mid-size IT departments, and then he co-manages their IT with them. And so he's onto something. And I think what he's figured out is, if you look at internal IT, they have an amazing burden on their hands right now. They've got to manage their existing IT infrastructure. They've got to move applications to the cloud, right? Think about the burden that puts on them. And just like we talked about all these industries being disrupted, they've got to be focused on keeping their business and their industry viable. And so a lot of changes are being thrown at them, so they have to manage through that as well. So they've got kind of a triple whammy effect that's happening to them. So internal IT departments are massively burdened. If you looked in there, they cannot keep up with the request. It used to be that they could keep up with the requests, but what's happening now is there's no possibility for them to actually keep up with all the requests that are hitting them today. And so it's starting to look like this. They're just getting overwhelmed, and this is what Kelly's figured out. Because of the factors, because of everything that's going on right now, they simply cannot keep up. So what has he done? He's figured out that he can take a lot of those tickets away from them, but what he's really figured out is he can put that infrastructure, the ConnectWise platform, inside of that company using Streamline IT, and he can help manage that. And what you find is that internal IT departments, even though they may not like us getting involved, they have very poor tools to get their jobs done. So he's figured out co-managed IT. The last thing, and I think this is a breakthrough that is always going to be there for all of us, and that's world-class service. So, if you think about kind of the world that we're going into, you will always survive if you have amazing world-class service. So let's talk about what the components of that are. First, I want to talk about the customer journey, because I think this is a good way for you to understand how you are perceived by your customer. If you think about it, everything that you do, you have to first, any solution that you have, any offering that you have to first make your customer aware of that, right? And then they have to evaluate it, decide if they want to participate, do they want to buy it, right? So you got to give them a quote, right? You've got to engage them with a quote. You got to let them know the services you have, make them aware, then you've got to give them a quote, right? Then they're going to purchase from you. That's another touch point with the customer. Every one of these touch points has to be amazing. Then you have to deliver that service, right? And then you have to support that service. And what's last? You have to bill that service. Every one of these is a unique touch point with your customer. And so we at ConnectWise have thought about that journey and your journey with your customers, and that's why we have solutions for every one of those major touch points. Awareness, we have Campaign Director to help your clients become aware of the services that you have. Evaluation, we have ConnectWise Sell to help you put out great proposals and quotes so that you can really wow them at that touch point. We have a purchasing and receiving module so that will go nice and smooth. And then you've got to deliver those services. And so, we've got amazing tools for that, ConnectWise Manage and Automate. Supporting, we can support with chat, with tickets, a number of ways to help you support and do a great job with that touch point of your clients. And then, of course, you've got to bill them. And so with agreements and our invoicing, you can take care of all of those things. And you want to focus on really delivering high-quality service with all of that. So that's the kind of the context for it. Another very important thing to do is training. A lot of us hire our people, and it's all on-the-job training, and that's okay, but I think the world that we're getting into, especially with the new workforce that's coming out of college, they want to be continuously trained. So one thing I can tell you is that having a proactive training approach is very important. In fact, ConnectWise has created a website called technologycertifications.com, and your people can, for very low cost, get trained on Amazon, Cisco, Microsoft, ITIL, a number of things. So, you want to have some proactive training with your people so that you can deliver amazing customer service. And then you've got to measure satisfaction, right? So hopefully you're using surveys on your tickets to figure out if you're doing a good job with your clients. Hopefully you're measuring your SLAs. Hopefully you have a way of understanding whether you're delivering happiness to your clients. And so measuring satisfaction is a necessary component of it. And then, of course, being proactive. It's kind of a catchphrase for the managed service boom, but it's amazing how reactive most service that we see still is. So the concept of being proactive cannot be underemphasized. And then automating everything. How can you scale if you don't automate everything? And so, with ConnectWise Automate, you're able to really automate everything that you do under that client's roof. And so automation, I think, is a really big key for you as well. And then I guess something I want you to think about is chat, because research has shown that the generation that's coming into the workforce today, they don't really pick up the phone. I mean, how many of you have teenagers? Real quick, teenagers. All right. How many of them answer the phone, their cell phone, when you call them? I don't see any hands going up. How many of them respond when you send email? All right, I don't see any hands. How many respond when you text them? Yes, okay? You just proved to yourself that the generations coming in the workforce, they don't want to be called, they don't want to be emailed, they want to be chatted with, okay? And so that's something that I think is really important. In fact, even current surveys of the existing business marketplace say that satisfaction of phones is about 44%. A phone call gives someone about a 44% satisfaction rating. Email, about 61%. But chat has 71% satisfaction rating. So I would encourage you to think about implementing something like ConnectWise Chat into your service and solution offering for those reasons. So that's world-class service. We're really excited about this. One of the things that we're really super excited about, though, is the ecosystem itself. So as we have brought our platform together and created greater integrations, we're seeing the opportunity to improve and grow that ecosystem. And so ConnectWise has become this real kind of gravitational force. I mean, we have a whole lot of vendors that want to integrate to us. And so we're really committed to open APIs and giving you lots of choices. Now, Craig said a bunch of times, he says, only with the ConnectWise suite. Well, the only reason it's only with the ConnectWise suite is because we're the only ones putting in hours and hours and hours trying to make really meaningful integrations in our suite. But what's so cool about everything that you see that we've done, that's an open API stack that anybody can create all kinds of interesting integrations to the ConnectWise platform. So it's an open platform that invites anyone and everyone to integrate to it. So lots of investment in API. So for instance, Microsoft Office and Azure have been added to that ecosystem with the work that we've done. If you talk about all of our amazing 16 vendors that are here, they're all integration partners over there in the Cromwell suite there, WebRoot, Datto, IT Glue, and the others. All of those are now integrated to ConnectWise, and that is also growing that ecosystem. And so as we kind of move forward and we see this kind of world of age of breakthroughs, there's going to be more and more opportunity for us to grab more and more, expand that platform, bring everything into that one ecosystem. So, as we enter the age of breakthroughs, I have a challenge for you. How will you take advantage of the opportunities that are sitting right there in front of you? How will you evolve your business? Will you add new practice areas like Kelly and Duncan and Carl? Because we think that you should. We should be thinking about that things. Will you commit to world-class service? Will you help in all ways to help each other, sharing your smack recipes? Because we can grow that way as well. The one thing I want you to know, though, is that we are on this journey with you. We are on this journey together, and we truly believe in you. So we would like for you to take this opportunity here at IT Nation to collaborate, learn from each other, and really challenge you to have a breakthrough. So let me just ask you this. I feel it is time for each and every one of you to make a breakthrough. So what will your breakthrough be? Have a great IT Nation. Thank you guys very much.